You have arrived to the Plunge Into Prosperity podcast, where sacred wisdom meets regenerative wealth. I'm your host, Brandy Koloski of Sacral Capital. Now let's plunge in. Welcome back to Plunge Into Prosperity, the show for those who are done playing small and ready to build the kind of life that's as rich in meaning as it is in your life of freedom. I'm your host, Brandy Koloski, general partner of Sacral Capital and launching a $110 million Sacral Fund with the seed from Sacral Sisters SPV. And today, with someone who, is walk side by side with me in building something truly sacred. She is the crown and founder, CEO of Coquina Capital, a real estate financing firm rooted in community, capital, and connection in Northeast Florida. In 2025, she was at a $14.5 million capital connected and closed. Today, she's up to $42.5 million with an additional $50 million in the pipeline. If you want her two bright-eyed, bushy-tailed boy and girl children, well, those are priceless, and her gem of a husband isn't on the market either. She co-produced with me the inaugural Plunge Into Prosperity events in St. Augustine and Jacksonville, Florida. She was the original founding managing partner of Sacral Sisters SPV, and she is the woman who stamped even further at a cellular level my already convicted reasoning in my sacral that the most powerful networks are built on trust building and community, not just transactions. So please welcome as the bubbly as me guest for today's episode 8, Deanna Reich. Deanna.
Yay, thank you. What an introduction. It makes me so get teary-eyed just in the introduction, so thank you.
I had to throw in your babies and your man in there.
Well,
because they are part of raising your
babies and the man. I was telling you about artifacts, so this is one of the Mother's Day cards. I actually have 4 of them, so I just rotate them.
I love that. Yes, that's such good affirmation for the soul. Yeah, beautiful.
Can you see
so
Penny
cute.
covered with marker?
Yes. I love it. She's such a great mom, everyone. Go ahead, Deanna. Anything you want to answer before we go deep? I want to give you the floor for a moment. And for those who are new here, Deanna, tell them why they should continue listening to this particular episode of Plunge Into Prosperity.
Well, first initial thoughts. When you were just talking through introductions, but also our story, I truly felt like there was just a natural alignment. Like it was instant, right? Our friend connected us and I was like, whatever she's doing, I need to help her. And then it turned into you helping me and then me helping you. So it was a very organic way for us to build. And so the reason why you want to keep listening is you're going to be with other humans that are raw, honest, and real, that believe that women need to be in the same rooms as people that are talking about capital, but it's safe. It's very educational and fun. And just like I talked about us being aligned, to go ahead and to jump into the whole prosperity thought process, I really do feel like that is alignment. Prosperity and alignment go together.
That's why I wanted you here, because you don't just talk about this, Deanna. You live it, you build it, you have embodied it. And I just want everyone in this audience to see what that actually looks like. So that's exactly why this conversation matters. And I want us to take us in the heart of it now. So how did you first discover your own personal definition of what, true prosperity really means to you? And how are you actively embodying it and stewarding that vision in your life and work today? And maybe inside of that journey, what is a one bold plunge or gut decision where everything completely changed that trajectory of your work in life? Like share that. I know some of them, but maybe you'll surprise me today.
I have a surprise one to share too. Yeah. When you said that, I was like, I got a good one from age 30.
Yeah.
So apparently I reinvent myself every 10 years, guys. So, okay. So to start with the first question. I know that second question is where I want to go through like a monumental moment that changed the trajectory. But the starting point, I feel like there's another question in there. I totally missed it.
It's basically like where did you first discover what your personal definition of what true prosperity really means to you? And currently, how are you actively embodying and stewarding that vision today?
Got it. Okay. So they go completely together.
Yeah.
So I found it through learning that I'm okay like me being my truest self is actually great. And I spent over a decade listening to others and getting into careers and acting and looking a way that I thought would make me be accepted. And then one day I snapped. And Brandy, to be real with you, like literally snapped in a good and powerful way to me. So what happened was I was working with a company that I basically was moved to the mean girl table. I was with the company for 2.5 years. I was like basically Miss Sunshine, like basically what people see now. Like I love elevating people and I'm jolly.
Yeah.
I'm just naturally there. But then they moved me to a team with the mean girls. And I noticed the bullying, but then I tried to fight it and I tried to bat it with humor. And then one day, and it wasn't
Mhm.
even like a very terrible remark, but it was just enough. And I literally stood up, yelled at women, tactfully, slammed the chair and quit. And I've never done that before.
Yeah.
Here I am, a 30-year-old. I was living on my own, supporting myself, and I just quit that W-2 job.
Yes.
So that was the real moment. When you're talking about that, that was the moment. Because prosperity is alignment, and I was not aligned. I was sitting in the table with people that, they were hurting. I did get actually a really kind apology from one of them later.
Yeah.
It just wasn't a match, right? And I also needed to show my boundaries, and it felt so good to do that. It felt so
Yes.
free. And then after I did that, I'm like, I can do anything. And so I had a lot of learning. I did dabble in the residential space for a little bit, and then I bopped into technology for a little bit, but then I got pulled right back into residential, and then somehow that got me into hard money lending. And then over time, I built so many relationships in connecting people to capital, whether it was serving the company I was representing or not. I knew that the next step would be for me to be independent, have my capital partners so I could match make the right people with the right capital. And I don't always get it right, but here's the
No.
great thing. If I don't get it right, I get to correct it moving forward. Or I get to be that last message to that person where I'm like, you know what? If this didn't work, it's great. And then on the flip side, all the people that I help with the right capital the first time, then we actually get to help them build wealth and soar because those capital partners, whether it's a family office or a private lender or just some person that has a lot of wealth that just wants to lend to the right opportunity,
Yep.
there's an alignment. So
Yes, there is.
everybody wins, and everybody
Alignment
feels
is a
good,
key
and
word.
everyone's respected. Yeah,
Alignment is keyword. And then
yeah.
in those journeys, what was one point that where something that could have or did shatter you? But then that ended up becoming that part of your foundation. What
Yeah. Well, there's a couple of
the deepest
shadows
breakdown you ever had to have your breakthrough.
So there's, it goes back deeper than that. There is a lot of women experience using perfectionism as a way to feel accepted and also as a way of control. So even in childhood, in the chaos of childhood, whether it be humans I was interacting with at school or even in my home, I found that, if I seem perfect, if I follow these little routines, if I'm very skinny, if I look pretty, if I'm always happy and never show my emotions, that is what
Mhm.
my 8-year-old self taught me.
Yeah.
And so that really came crashing down when I was 25. And I
Mm.
decided to pivot from I had education in education. So I had a bachelor's degree, a master's degree. My role was to be a teacher. And then I had this path of being a teacher and then becoming a reading specialist and actually helping children that could be projected towards like self-doubt and lack of confidence
Yes.
because of that lack of ability to match their peers in reading. Like that was like the bigger mission. However, once I got in it still wasn't fully aligned. And so when
Mm-mm.
I decided to actually just leave that and go into sales and explore that world, I fell into a deep depression. Thankfully I spoke about it to my friends and my family. So I started doing therapy, and that's where I really was shattered and I picked myself back up. And then I started to recognize the patterns, and then I started to recognize that, well, that worked when I was a kid, but I don't have to be perfect now.
Mm-mm.
Well,
No.
hey, because that person said I should do this career because of what they've seen or my
Societal
background,
programming. Yeah.
I mean, I have to do that. I just need to figure it out, and I don't have to know that it doesn't quite fit. That's okay.
Yeah.
Skills. It doesn't have to be so serious.
Oh, thank you for sharing that, and being vulnerable, in that time there. You and I are very similar in those areas, and that's one of the reasons why we connected, because you and I are definitely unique characters, and I
Yeah.
love that about us, and I don't have to change that either, and I would have never met you if I wasn't my authentic self and you as well. And
Yeah.
so therapy is one of the most amazing things on earth. I don't work with a traditional therapist. I work with, healers, past life healers, women that do remote healing and all of these things, and performance coaches and so forth. And but either way, it's still being
So
able
therapy.
to let still therapy in its own right. Yep. So that was that almost shattering
Yeah.
breakthrough,
Could
breakdown
have just stayed
moment.
small, but I didn't,
Yeah.
right?
What
Yeah.
when you launched Coquina Capital, what was happening in your life at that moment, where you had that leap? What made it feel necessary rather than reckless? Because I know that
Yeah.
sometimes
The whole, like,
we
quitting the
can.
job when I was 30, that was reckless, but it was also, like, get my power back. So,
Yes,
there was a more of a thought out build towards Coquina Capital. Well, one, I had 5 years of building all these relationships in the
and it
commercial.
was necessary to launch it.
Yes.
Yes.
And I also noticed the patterns. I was in the same rat race. Like, I liked the people I worked with, but I was doing the same types of things, and I was also stuck
Mhm.
in a box, and
You're a
I just
creative.
right, and I also and I need creative ways to develop business too. Like, I
Yes.
was being pushed towards only
It was
working in one
robotic.
space, right, and only working certain leads when I need to be out. I need to be at
Yeah, yeah,
meetups. I
yeah.
need to, like, from those people, meet other people. I need to actually go out and travel and be in coffee shops and then meet investors that way. It's just
Mhm.
how I operate, and I know you do as well. Like, some of your biggest partners come from you just being out and about and
Yes.
letting like, receiving, right?
Yes, yep, just be yes, exactly. So
Yeah.
you made that decision without a guaranteed outcome, because I know every business I've
And
launched, there was no guaranteed outcome. What did you anchor yourself to when any doubts have crept in?
because I knew it was right, and actually, there's one more little piece to that. So, knowing
Yeah.
the patterns was one, and I can't remember if I told you this story. What happened was it was in November. I had been with this one company for over 2 years, and I developed this routine where I would work, but I would also work, like, super early in the morning, and then I do a little bit of kid
Mhm.
time, and then all day, and then barely have dinner, and then while the kids are taking a bath, work more. Like, I just got in this grind that I wasn't
I
breaking.
remember.
And then my son, at the time he was 5, came to me crying, and
Mm.
he woke up. He came out of bed at 10:30 at night because I was up on the computer doing term sheets or
He
something,
could feel it. Mhm.
and he just said, "I wish your job would fire you." And I immediately closed my laptop, laid with him, and the first thought that came to my mind is, "I wish I fired myself from this job too. This is not how you live life. You need to be excited with what you do, and yes, you grind when you need to grind. You don't need to do that at the cost of being right, and you need to be with your family, and also you need the flexibility of like, even today, like, if I know at those important times to be with my family during the daytime, cool, I'll do that. If I have a
Mhm.
deadline, when I put them down to bed, I don't mind working from 10 to 1 in the morning if it's something
Yeah.
urgent because I spent that quality time and it was on my terms. It was
And it
autonomous.
fulfilled you and amplified the energy
Yeah,
versus yep, yep,
yeah,
understood. Yeah.
yeah, and then
Yep.
now we know
I've always commended and looked up to you in that regards, and we'll get into that part of that story in a little bit of
okay, I give
my
you like,
firsthand experience. But I
well,
want to talk
yes.
about first
Okay,
the
I had a
name
story for you to
of Coquina Capital,
sure.
because it genuinely, obviously, I come from a marketing background, and I also am very particular when it comes to describing or giving the effervescence of a feeling of something via its words or vision or visual. And when I was introduced to you and it was Coquina Capital, I'm like, oh my God, how amazing. All I thought was like seashells and
Yeah,
sunshine and the sea, which I love all of those things. And then, Sacral Capital, also a unique name, and it's right. And I know how intentional you are. And for anyone who doesn't know this, I was born and raised in North Florida. Family is in St. Augustine. Deanna is in St. Augustine. And the Castillo de
and Marcos.
San Marcos in St. Augustine is one of the oldest standing masonry fortresses in the entire country, and it was built from coquina limestone, this extraordinary, like shell-based rock that does not shatter when it's struck. It absorbs, and that's what makes those walls still standing after 400 years. And that is the philosophy you've built your entire company on. Deanna, so
Absolutely.
how did this name find you? What does it mean to you personally to be building something as resilient and lasting as like those walls?
Yes, and I love that you brought that in. I love the fort. So on a personal level, I've had so many very important moments at the fort, whether it be with friends late night where we're listening to our favorite songs and looking at the stars. My first
Mhm.
kiss with my husband was there at the fort when we decided to open the envelope to find out if I was having a boy or a girl. We did it at the fort. So emotionally, the fort was special. And then deep dive
Yeah.
in the fort, I love history. So to dig onto what you said, in 1763, while the British were trying to take over St. Augustine, they burnt down the entire city, or not the entire, but main downtown area. So everyone went to the fort for sanctuary, and they were fine. Those walls are 14 feet tall, and just like you said, that coquina cluster that happens naturally occurring in the Matanzas, that formates over thousands of years, but it's built, but it's all those different pieces that make it strong. So just like I have all these
Mhm.
capital partners and different relationships, and then people in
Mm.
those that I can refer and support, that is just like those walls. And so when the British were attacking and shooting those cannons, like you talked about, it didn't shatter. In fact, it actually slightly absorbed in some moments. And at nighttime, they would actually go out and grab the cannons and shoot them back over the next day.
Yeah.
Like literally, they were not going to get in. The only reason why the British took over for a short period is because they had to surrender. They ran out of supplies, but it was only 20
Yes.
years. And the Spanish took back over. So
Yes.
going back
Yes.
to what
Yes.
you
Yes.
said, you beautifully talked about all those bits and pieces and the adaptiveness of coquina. That is the
Mhm.
true essence of what this business is. Because not only I can connect with many different options and resources, we can
Mhm.
also pivot and we can adapt and we can do what's necessary for the market because it's not always going to be the same market. So that is why I need to always have different options for people,
Oh,
right?
yes. That
That's
actually gets me into something that I was
yeah.
conjuring up. And, for those that are listening, obviously this is a platform for both of us. And so anyone that's listening right now who is an investor or wants to be and has started at a deal and thought, I know this makes sense, I just can't find the right financing. Deanna, this is your world. So walk us through what Coquina Capital actually does for real estate investors or for Sacral Sisters. Describe yourself as a matchmaker, you connecting investors. Who is the ideal person that should be calling you?
Love
Maybe
it.
something like that.
That's
Yeah.
perfect. Well, the ideal for the face value of my business. So we're looking at commercial lending, people that are doing ground up construction, acquiring multifamily, people that are entrepreneurs looking for SBA loans that may have missed some type of qualification because of an overlay at a bank. People
Mm-hmm.
that are part of HOAs and they don't want to have things to be so expensive for their neighborhood. We offer HOA loans. Companies that want to take advantage of factoring, so they're able to access capital and do payroll before the income comes in. Uh, it's
The
broad.
HOA loan is new to me. I'd never even
Yeah,
like thought of that.
that's something we've been dabbling in. Most of my
Yeah.
closings have been more ground up construction, fix and flip, DSCR. Now that I'm also in markets like Miami and, just word of mouth, we've been talking to
Mm-hmm.
some people about that loan. And it just further helps people. I mean, capital gives you
Yeah.
resources and
And soon
freedom.
Puerto Rico.
Yeah. So we'll have to talk on that. Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah.
so the ideal investor at face value, yes, real estate. Because I met you,
Yeah.
Randy, and because I've gotten to learn about your hybrid model of venture capital and private equity, and also when we created the SPV together as a way for people to step into these places, even if they're not quite at the point where they can be, the word is like terms accredited, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
knowing that we can actually offer a way as a group where we can collectively be that accredited investor, that opens up more
Mm-hmm.
doors. So I'm talking about multiple conversations where many of my closings are in real estate. My connections and my wealth building align with investments and connecting people
Yeah.
to people like you who will take the time to not only thoroughly educate, also
Yeah.
just come to the person at their level. I love
Yeah.
that you never pressure, you educate. You
Yeah.
also lead
Because
with
that's what
relationship
happened to
forward.
me. Yes.
Exactly.
Thank
And that's
you.
what women need. Women need to
And
understand.
And remember, I've always said this to you, money is energy. So, and it's a current. So all we're doing is moving the currency of where the capital needs to go, or the education of the current of the energy of the money, right? And it's all a flow state, you know?
It is, and
And so
also
it's been beautiful. Go ahead.
yes, and also in the financial space, you'd be surprised to find there's a lot of people that are high up in, like, any type of stocks and trading companies that will work with a psychic or a medium or someone who does tarot card reading, because there is a need to have spiritualism within finances, that just like you say, money is energy, and it works.
It's a sacred wisdom. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
billionaires use astrology all the time.
yeah,
And I got you into using it some more, especially for personal life
absolutely.
too.
I was already fascinated by it. You also taught me, like, easy habits to have it in my daily life,
Yeah,
and so
it
I'm
it,
using
it
some
it's
more and
used
more
as
and
a
more.
guide for the day.
Mhm.
You know, those green days and red days. I
Yeah,
know my man, he'll message me and be like, "Are we having a red day?"
yeah,
You know, in the Vedic, and I'm like, "Oh,
yeah,
yeah." Or I'll look and I'll be like, "What's going on today?" And it will tell me you're in a silent moment, you know? So I'm like, "Okay, let me go take a step back."
yeah,
So, well, moving forward into staying with Coquina Capital, I noticed that people that are wanting to invest, some of them are looking at the different types of, news articles that are out there, or listening to other investors and or other people that, they have their experience, but it doesn't mean that their answer is the right answer. What is the most common mistake you see investors making when they're trying to access additional capital right now, or, your real estate deals that are trying to access additional capital right now? And what can
yeah.
you
That's a great question.
provide them to maybe up level themselves?
So, trying to think of the best word for that. There's a lot of, like, coffee talk in real estate where people are, like, at a
Mm,
coffee shop and they're like, "Oh, yeah, I'll be your private lender. Let's make a deal like this." And sometimes that works if the person that's lending to you, as well as the person that's getting the loan, have a clear exit plan. That
yes.
doubles into the advice. Have a clear exit plan, because no matter who the lender is, they need to know how they're being paid back, period,
Yeah.
right? So,
Mhm.
I like having access to individuals that private lend, because there's moments when you're like, "Ooh, they needed just a little bit more capital for cash to close. Perfect." I like
Mhm.
having big family offices for major, like, $12 million, like, land development deals, because they know how to build out the full infrastructure. And that takes it's a longer process, but the people that are typically doing that have experience, and when they have the resources to show, "Hey, this is how we're exiting," whether it's a hold or they're selling. And
Yeah.
then within that, though, which I'm so grateful to have these resources, I also have resources where, let's say you're in that middle space, but again, you need more capital. So the advice is, you always need more capital. So go in with a clear exit plan. Also, having liquidity built up. Whether
Mhm.
it's you have an investment
And
fund that's cash
leverage.
flowing and you're building it into an
Mhm.
account, so you always have this pocket of money, because I'm grateful that I have resources where I can help investors keep pushing forward, but that gets expensive because
Yes.
there's a older loan there. So if you
Mhm.
can personally build a nest egg for yourself where you have the liquidity, but then you use the loan to proceed forward without tapping into your liquidity, but that liquidity is security. And then it also is a chance where, or a place where you can dabble into if things go over. So that would be my biggest advice. And then also keep your eyes and ears open. Just because you have one lending source doesn't mean it has to be your end all be all.
Mhm.
And I even say this with myself. That's why I chose to have so many capital resources. And that's why I'm always keeping an open ear for who else is out there. Because
Oh,
just
yes.
because on paper this would be a perfect lineup, the personality might not match. Or the responsiveness may not match to that individual. Or maybe
Mhm.
I might meet someone, I'm like, you know what? Just go to a bank. Your
Yeah.
comfort level is a bank. And
Yep.
because of how you build things, do a bank. Here's where I can help you, because I know banks won't say yes to XYZ.
Yep, exactly. There is a time where you just have to go, it's okay. This isn't the right fit for you. Understood.
Yeah.
So, you are you love pulling up chairs and filling tables. And so I want to be
And throwing
uh,
them when I
uh,
decide I'm not aligned.
yeah, I want to be more authentic and open and dive into more details with the audience because the show is about real prosperity, and that means we tell the real stories to get to that real prosperity. So I have walked a meaningful road together with you already. And part of that road is the Sacral Sisters SPV. And this is a sacred ground for me personally. And I want to honor it with you, Deanna, because you were the original managing partner of Sacral Sisters SPV. You helped birth it into existence. And then you made the decision to hand over the reins to me and step in as the role of like lead LP. Deanna, what was this transition like? What did it teach you about stewarding something you helped create and then choosing to release it into the wild?
The buildup felt like I was bringing in everyone that would listen to the special club. Like I felt like now we get to learn about something that we felt that other people got to take advantage of. People that grew up with wealth. Now we got to that table, and even deeper than that, because women typically have, and there's a lot of men as well. I don't want to pin us against each other, but I'll just speak to the perspective of a lot of women. A lot of women care about purpose and legacy. They care about how they're going to leave this world a better place. And sometimes that's equal or more important than how much money they'll make. So it just depends on the person, right? And so knowing that your mission is to basically cure antiquated systems, that was very easy for me to speak to. And then having your experience and the way you dove into not only the safety of how you're investing, because it's a hybrid. It's not just what's flashy, it's also what's stable.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, reducing risk.
Yeah. So the buildup of it, yes.
The eyes are even stronger on me. So I wanted to make sure that this was safe and stable, both short term and long term, for sure. Yeah.
And so we built it up, and then we got to this space where like, okay, now like things are kind of more automated. And then also, which is exciting, business was picking up tremendously. And I was also in the process of like home transition. There's a lot going on.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And as I would do my
Assessments.
give myself walks. I do these daily walks where you just have no sound, and it's just my dog Muppet and I, right? And
Yes.
my spirit animal or my familiar. We're just out there just cruising. And the message kept coming to me is like, you built this up, it's time to let it go. You built this up, it's time to let it go.
Yeah, I never heard this part of the story.
Yeah, and
I didn't know it was the dog walk. I love this.
It was and it was always at the state park. That's my special place.
I'm so proud of you for listening to your body because that is what I preach, girl. I preach.
Yeah.
You got to listen to your body because really it's just spirit, it's just divinity sending you the messages. It's your sacral telling you, hey, this is it. I've always led with that. And not a lot of people don't like it when you want to pivot for your own prosperity and
just
purpose.
More time. Yeah, I was at a point where I needed more time to focus in these other areas.
And how did we handle it?
It was so it was within 5 seconds.
And it was
we talked about it.
It was graceful.
Awesome, this is how we go through. And it was such a relief. You know what it reminded me of? That fateful day when I quit teaching. Because that fateful day I quit teaching, at that time I didn't know how to process it all. So I was an emotional wreck. And I'll never forget Mrs. Wagner, Christine Wagner over at South Charlotte Middle School. Call out to her. She's still an administrator there. Literally just took a breath and said, it's okay. Here's how we're going to move forward. And I thought it was going to be the end of the world if I left education. And she made it so easy and so smooth. And it felt like that. It just felt like, okay, it's okay. We can let this go. And I'm still part of it. But now I get to help collect your humans with you and still build up my business and stay within the space that's been
and build up your own abundance and your family's legacy and knowing that I'm stewarding, leaving the world a better place too for you, for us, for the collective Sacral Sisters. Yeah, I also have experienced bad business breakups in the past, or most of the time they weren't even breakups. They were just come out of left field. And, I'm owed probably $2.25 million out there still from, doing business with people that just didn't have a good emotional maturity, ground and so forth. And it was just beautiful. to be able to go, okay, here we go,
And
you
here's how we
know?
move forward easily.
And it was,
Yeah.
yeah, a lot, we have such PTSD from people just creating shitty scenarios of what could have been an easy scenario just because of that their built up, experience of past things. And it was just nice to have, like, be able to talk about a beautiful transition.
Yeah.
Business breakups, quote unquote, don't have to be bad. And this wasn't a breakup,
No, it
but
was just a position shift.
other types of people that have not
Yeah.
managed how to organize their emotions and speak for themselves and their boundaries. That's when it becomes a bad breakup because they don't know that they can do it with love and grace.
And all it takes
Like,
is a few good
they just want to go to
experiences.
war all the
Thank you.
time.
Right. And actually, cute
Yeah.
example, my poor dog, Muppet, rescue dog. He used to be terrified of giant dogs. He was probably attacked before I rescued him. All I had to do was introduce him to 5 really cool big dogs. And then he's like, "Oh, big dogs don't equal violence. Big dogs can be cool." So that's like a
Yeah.
cute innocent way to explain it. But that's what it takes is a few good experiences to realize a lot of people are rooting for you. A lot of people, when
Yeah.
you speak, here's my limitations, they want to find a path forward. And that was
Although
a
you still have to
example.
do the work and the healing work. Yep,
Always have
and
to
it
do.
takes a tribe
Always.
to do that. You were helping heal Muppet, but while introducing him. So,
Yeah.
the
And
dogs
now
need
he's a dog
therapy
for
too.
others. I joke, I
He's
say he's a good starter dog. Like, have people meet Muppet, and Muppet will, like, make
he's
them feel
he's the therapist now for the other dogs.
absolutely.
Yeah. So what do you hope Sacral Sisters creates for the women in it 5 years from now? And what would you say to women who are standing maybe like on the edge of investing for the first time, excited,
Yeah.
but terrified? Like, what do you suggest for them?
Okay, so when you asked the question, the first thing that came to my head was an image. So the image that came to mind was a look into the future where we're all in a beautiful space, whether it be a property we buy in Puerto Rico or some other island. And not only are we having a spiritual retreat, but we're using it as like an educational workshop
Love
so we can
that.
better our own businesses. So it's bringing
I've
in
already identified a few properties. So yes.
right, and we loosely talked about this, but the image of us standing there, and it was
Yes.
because I saw some familiar faces, but also people I don't know. So I will say in
Yes.
my head when you said that,
Same.
right? So premonition, and so my belief
And
is
what would you say to the women listening who are standing at the edge of investing for the first time in general or in Sacral Sisters?
right. Well, the great thing about the SPV is you can start at any level. So if you're someone who is a stay-at-home mom and you manage to save a certain amount each month and you're like, okay, I can only invest X. That's fine. Or if you're someone who built up a huge like 401k and you're like, you know what? I could take a little bit of this so I can make a big compounding interest. Learn the information because having education is power. That's how you mitigate risk. Is you're actually learning this is what's happening. Here's the risks. Also, here is the data. So,
Mhm.
I mean, your data room obviously is intense and amazing. So anyone who wants to actually feel that security, just book a meeting with Brandy, and Brandy can walk you through the data room. You can look through it yourself, and that'll help you understand when you feel.
Yeah.
I don't want to say do you feel
Amazing.
ready. I'll say when you feel ready because that's just what it was like for me. I just saw. I was like, okay, I'm ready. I'm going to take this step now. I'm going to take this step later. Like I'm already planning in my head like other ways. I can. I don't want to have to go down the spiral of like what our plans are as far as like the money
Yeah.
reinvesting and all.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
I
yeah.
already know what the trajectory is, and I just started at point A. And imagine what point
Mhm.
B will be as I build more abundance in my business a year from now, and a year from now from that, where I get to have this place where I can have my money compound, but not just
Mhm.
for a way of making more money, but actually healing broken systems. I believe in the companies you're investing in. Like
Thank you.
that's what speaks to my heart is it's not just yay, my money's making money. It's no, our money is helping a business flourish and an industry flourish
Yeah.
that's broken
And women-led businesses too.
and
Yep, yep,
diverse
yep, for
led
sure.
and
Yes, yes.
just lifting
See,
up yes, the people
I
in
think
our world that haven't had those opportunities.
yeah. I also feel that most humans that are in a certain bracket of wealth, they don't realize they can get into private markets because it was such a boys, man's world, or like higher wealth world. Yet you can get into private markets and get in early on deals through SPVs into the fund if you're not accredited. And so that also is a big, educational point because they were like, oh, stocks? No, anyone can invest in stocks on public market. Private market wasn't marketed a lot, and that was because it was kind of kept hush
It was
hush.
like secret.
So
Like, we're gonna make a bunch of money here,
yeah,
but don't tell
but
other people.
it's not even supposed to be. So we're
Yeah.
just uncovering more ways to diversify. So let's go broad for a moment because I know you think deeply about this, and I want our audience to hear it from you. Women in wealth, we are still fighting a cultural story that says money is masculine, that investing is a man's game, as I just said, that women should manage the household budget, but leave the big capital decisions to someone else. You are in the rooms, you are doing the deals. What is your message to the women who are still living inside of that old story?
Well, okay, there's two parts to this. One part is there's some women I know that actually have this drawn to be a nurturer, and that's their happiest place. So we got to think about what is the definition of wealth. Okay, so the definition of wealth could still be I'm the main house manager. I take care of
Yes.
children. In
I
that,
wish there was
though,
two of me because I would love to live that life too.
right. But in that, though, power also comes in the freedom of being able to have like money to do things. You have to have capital to do things. So that same person that might be the house manager and chooses not to have a career, having a way where she can still build income while she's still doing where she loves. And then the other answer to that is personally, I am a very much nurturing mother. I also love business and I'm fascinated by business. And I feel like I'm a ninja in finance, not as in like I'm naturally talented, as in I'm learning what is keeping people back. Because I have like feet on the ground and I'm hearing stories from women that own companies that had to do it with cash because they couldn't find
I
the right
did in the
mentor.
beginning. When I was younger, in my 20s,
Yes.
I had to start. I started my own business with cash
Because they couldn't
there
get
was
anyone to
no.
loan. Yes.
Well, there. I was young. Your credit history,
Mhm.
and then there wasn't a lot of education out there on how to go find these things. In my mid 20s, I mean, Google search was just getting bigger, and so forth, and yeah, it's yep.
Yeah. And so my superpower are my people. I have so many people behind me that I know are trusted and solid. Not only do they have years of experience, but they've already worked with people I've worked with. So I'm already the reference check, right? So now I know if this is your blocker, if you want to use this bank or this lender, this is how you can get there in 90 days. Or this is how you can get there in 30 days. Like there are ways people can get through. They just didn't have the understanding behind it.
Yeah.
So I know I kind of went on a tangent there, but connecting back to that
No.
original question, I mean, yeah, a worthwhile tangent, but getting back to your original question, whether your happiness, space, and prosperity is being that house manager and nurturing your children, whether your happiness is doing deals, running a business, or being within a business as an entrepreneur, where you're making a company better. Like you don't have to necessarily be an entrepreneur. You can be a W-2 person, but you're making it better. In that, though, you'll be trapped if you don't find ways to also have your money make money.
Yes.
To get back to just the fact of life. I would love it. I would love if there was a way that we could just voyage for food for a minute and just have a break from it all. We're just not there at the moment.
That's why I'm getting us that house on a farm so that
So
we
then
just
we can have at least a reprieve from grocery expenses. We need that.
Exactly.
And the health side of it.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. And actually,
So
go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead.
what we're gonna close it out. So like there's gonna be some little rapid fire questions. I know something about you that others might not, but if they've looked at you on social media, they would. What is your favorite fitness activity you do every day, or that's just your go-to?
Burpees. So
burpees? I thought it was gonna be running.
Well, yes, running, but burpees always. Because even
Okay,
if
got it.
I could do burpees or I could do an adjusted burpee. The beautiful thing about burpees is it's it helps you for longevity. When you're 90 years old and you fall, the act of doing a burpee is how you get back up. So actively falling and getting back up mentally and physically, it is my favorite workout. People hate them, but I've learned to love them.
Yeah, you have to train your brain to love these type of things. Believe me, there are so many things people are like, oh, I can't do. Oh, I don't want to do it. And I'm like, or like foods or like herbs, like, certain plants, like I've learned to love all of these things because I know what the research is behind it. The science makes me love
Yeah.
it more. Yep,
Yes.
I agree. I
Now,
agree.
running is basically a tie too because that is my mental like healing. I've been injured enough to know though that running won't always be there for me. So
No.
that's why I built in my burpees. That's why I
Yes.
also love to swim.
Yes.
Also, I know the importance of dance. So whether I'm dancing in the
Yes.
kitchen or even doing like a dance workout class or just breaking into dance in public because I love to awkward dance, especially if someone wants to do a awkward dance off. It's a favorite as well.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, there's a
yeah,
new film I watched last night called Room to Move. And she is a professional dancer in New York City, but she, like 4 or 5 years ago, she was 33 years old and found out she had autism spectrum. But she had been fighting it her whole life, but like moving allowed her to regulate her body. And so I ended up taking the test last year and again this year,
yes.
and I'm on the spectrum. And so it's something I finally am like, "Oh, that's why I'm like this. Okay, great."
And also, isn't it so beautiful that
It's
you knew your wisdom knew to be a dancer? So that was you
yes.
knowing to dance because that's what you needed.
Yes, it's a healing modality, but it's also
Yes.
just fucking fun.
Yes! And it's so good for your gut. So I like jokingly I
Yeah.
was at like a dance
And
class on
and
Wednesday,
and and
and I
and our
like turned to a stranger and
feminine energy.
I was like, "You know what's great about this? The more you move like this, it's gonna help you digest. It's gonna help you poop."
Yes, and also our feminine energy too, and our
Yeah.
sexual energy, all of
Yeah.
that, because that all gets stuck. Now tell me one thing that you would tell every woman listening to do this week for Sacral Sisters SPV, and then one thing that you would tell every investor that wants to, contact, why they should contact you. What's a question they should ask themselves and why they should contact you at Coquina Capital?
Love it. So second question is why contact me? First question is a message to understand why
To the women, why they should plunge into
look
Sacral
into.
Sisters.
Okay. Well, the first word that came to mind is because you matter and you're worth it
Yes, women.
and you deserve to have these resources.
Yep, the
And
women and the abundance. Yes.
right. And
The community.
right. You get oh yeah. I love how you talked about the community because that is actually what's beautiful about this is not just you by yourself looking at investment opportunities. There's a community around you with big arms here to help
Yeah,
you.
yeah,
And everyone deserves to feel comfortable. Everyone deserves the
yeah.
freedom of knowing that my whether you have children or not, you have a legacy behind you.
Mm,
And you get to go through life feeling okay, that you're not in scarcity mindset. And that when you leave this world, that somebody behind you will be able to take it on as well. So that it
mhm.
goes further. It's just like you said, money is energy.
Mhm. It is, it is.
Yeah.
And then for anyone else out there that might be thinking, why I feel like I need to call Deanna at Coquina
Yeah.
Capital, but I'm not sure exactly why. Why don't you tell
Yeah. The
them maybe
question they
why
should
they
ask
should?
themselves is are they feeling like there's a disconnect between them and the capital? Like, are they not getting real communication? Another piece is, do they feel like they can be fully honest, right? Because sometimes people will purposely withhold information because they're afraid underwriting will shoot them down. I'm that safe space where you can share everything, actually it because we find solutions in that.
Yes, you have to lift the hood up and you have to be vulnerable and sharing all of the details.
Yes.
When we were doing a deal together, I was like, put everything in the folder, even
Put everything in the
even
folder.
your heart.
Yeah, and also like listening because even through conversation about like what we wanted in the beginning, we pivoted later because it made more sense.
Mm.
And that's
Yeah,
important.
but then yeah, and
Yes.
then when you're listening, when people are speaking, there's other things they're saying in between those things, right? And that's where our emotional intelligence comes in and our intuition and why you're really good at what you do, Deanna, because you listen between the lines, right?
That and
I
I
feel
could
you
feel
do.
it. Just like you, how we
Yes,
were
feel
interviewing
it.
people, I could feel it. I was like,
Mhm.
we need to have a conversation about this.
Mhm. Definitely. Deanna, where can our listeners find you?
Well, easiest way, we just talked about coquina. So if you're wondering what the heck is coquina, this is how you spell it. Coquina. So you can go coquina-capital.com. That's my website. Also, I've built up a lot of social media content. So if you just Google Deanna Reich, Like if you're looking at this, my name will
Spell
be
your name.
DeannaReich. There's a lot of content and there's a lot of access as far as finding me on LinkedIn. You'll find my webpage. From there, you can get to my email and we can communicate. And then obviously anything that flows in through any of those sources, I'm like, great,
Yes.
so let's talk.
And let's give a shout out to, I believe you created the Coastal Collective.
Actually, didn't necessarily create it. It was already
Okay.
there.
Okay.
I helped it expand into what it is. So I have
Okay,
a good
got it.
friend who
And
started
then,
it. I joined the group like 2 meetings in.
okay,
And
got it.
through our
Same with
communities, it
Sacral
grew.
Sisters, similar. Yes, yes,
It's
yes.
very
And then
similar. Yeah.
let's give a shout out to Spark
Yes.
at Jack's Ria
Dr.
with
Lisa
Dr.
Lee.
Lisa. Let's give a shout out to Shannon Span of Women's Wealth Building Network. Who else is
Absolutely.
in our Sacral Sisters that we can give a shout out to? Angel Lateral of Lateral Law for all of our trust and estate planning.
Big time.
Who else? Who else is in our Sacral Sisters that we can give shout outs to?
Okay. You already mentioned like the ones that are like in the forefront.
Allah, what's Allah's company name? Allah.
Hey Allah is her company.
Hey
Just
Allah.
AI integration. And
AI
then
integration.
there's one at the tip of my mind that I'm missing right now.
Yeah. We have Ra, we have Ujwak, we have Christina, we have Crystal Clenny, of course, of Intuitive Human, and TLM, Payroll Consulting.
No, there's a really long list. Where my brain is going to is who are those soldiers like us that are out there, or those goddesses and warriors out there? Like,
yeah, I just named a lot of them. Yeah,
like
yeah,
those
yeah.
So we're a huge collective, but the people you named, these are the loud ones. They're like,
Yeah, yeah.
circles,
Well,
let's blend together.
Spark is a Women's Real Estate Investment Association in Jacksonville, Florida, and then Dr. Lisa, who runs that, is also the president of Jacksonville Real Estate Investment of Jacksonville. So yeah, I think we're good to go though here, Deanna. This conversation has been everything I knew it would be.
Yeah.
Full of substance, full of soul, full of bubbliness, and full of that grounded, real energy that you and I always bring into every single room we walk into. Thank you for being the kind of woman who builds tables, not walls, for the way you have shown up in this world and in this community and in my life. And I'm endlessly grateful for you. For everyone listening, if this episode lit something up in you, share it with someone who needs to hear it, because that is how we plunge together. If you are ready to go deeper into investing, into your prosperity, into becoming a true conscious steward of your own abundance, everything you need is at plungeintoprosperity.com. This is episode 8. Until next time, keep plunging, and I'll see you in the deep end. And we're going to let it buffer.
Thanks for plunging into sacred wisdom and regenerative wealth with us. If your soul and your portfolio just got a glow up, hit subscribe on YouTube, Amazon, Spotify, and Apple. Share it with your crew. Tag us on social and join the movement at plungeintoprosperity.com. I am Brandy Koloski. Catch you on the next plunge.